These are the 20 books that I want to read during the month of September, and I usually read between like, I don't know, 16 to 20 books a month, so I feel like 20 books on my TBR is a pretty good amount to put on there. I'm a big romance girly, will be through and through no matter the season, but I will say whenever it gets to be like cozy months, I lean really like into heartfelt romances that are like deep and will make me cry, historical fictions and contemporary fiction and thrillers. And so I do have a pretty good mix of books in this stack, but let's go through these. Comment below the book you're most excited to read in September, if you're excited for the cozy months or if you're sad to see summer go. And let's just get into this. I talk a lot about how I like to read books by authors that aren't like super hyped up yet, because I feel like there's so many good books that have just like not been found. So there's a bunch of books in this stack of romances that I know you guys have not heard of, and if you have, maybe you've only heard of them here on this channel, because some of these books only have like 7 reviews, which I absolutely love. The first book that I'm really excited to read is Heartbeats by Rebecca Elder. This says she lost her heart the day her father died. He just might be the one to help her find it again. It's a story of loss and of grief, and it says it's about the undeniable beauty of human connection. This is by a small author, and again, there are not a ton of reviews for this. I love the cover. It's definitely giving fall, and I cannot wait to read this one. Haven't heard anyone talk about it, which is like just so nice. Like, not that I don't like hearing people talk about books that I want to read, because there are so many that I've read recently because other people are like, oh my god, this is so good, please pick it up. But I don't see that happen often for books that aren't already hyped up. It's like, oh yes, please read Emily Henry's newest book. It's like, well, duh. Like, of course we are gonna read her like newest book because she's a popular author. I love whenever I see someone recommend a book that isn't super popular and it gets me excited for that book. Just because, I don't know, I feel like it's like our own little book club, but not just for popular books. I also want to read Hear My Heart by Tay Monet. This is a book I am pretty sure is on Kindle Unlimited, and it's about a girl who grows up deaf, and her family kind of like ignores her, isn't really trying to accommodate for her in any way, and then she meets a guy who embraces just who she is, and it looks like a beautiful love story. It says that he comes into her world and flips her world upside down. Cannot wait to read this. I thought that this was gonna be like a cutesy little fall read, because again, there's like fall on the cover, and someone DM'd me and was like, hey, just so you know, this is not like a cutesy fall read. Like, there are some like hard topics in this, so keep that in mind when you go into it. The cover looks like it's gonna be cutesy, but apparently there's like heavier stuff. I also want to read Playing with My Heartstrings by H.K. Green. This also has very few reviews on Goodreads as well. Not a lot at all, and it's about a country music artist who lives in Nashville, and his name's Dusty Wilder, and then I'm pretty sure that Bailey is the PR for him, like she's like his PR agent, and so it's probably a forbidden love story. I love that trope. I think I like it because it's like they're not supposed to be together and there's so much tension. And I love a good slow burn. And I feel like you get slow burns more when you have stories like this where they like literally can't be together. And I also have 2 books that I am gonna unbox in the video that is gonna go up on Saturday, but I'm gonna just show you guys now because like I want to read them and you're gonna see this video first. But I do have some other like books that I'm going to show in a book haul on Saturday that are not in this video, but these 2 specifically were in the video. And the first one is Time Stops With You. This book looks so good. It's by a Black author. It's about a guy who is a millionaire or billionaire? Millionaire. He's terminally ill, and he needs someone to get married to so he can pass on his inheritance to them and like continue his lineage. And so he ends up finding this girl who he's like, yeah, like you're it for me. And I think that's such a unique like trope. I love the marriage of convenience trope, but sometimes I feel like it is just not realistic. Like, oh, you need to get married to someone because you need to like look professional at your job, like you have a wife or something. Like that just doesn't make sense. But I feel like stuff like this, if you're a millionaire, you want to pass on your wealth to someone or something. So that just makes a lot of sense, and it looks like it's going to be a great read. It is a pretty thick book. It's like almost 500 pages, but I'm not scared of it for some reason. Like I feel like normally thick books kind of intimidate me, but I'm actually really excited for that. I also picked up Teach Me to Fly by Tanisha Headley. This is a dark romance, and I am not someone who normally reads dark romance like at all. I feel like I'm the type who likes writing like Kennedy Ryan, Emily Henry, Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola, like very lyrical, slow burns that like really make you think and be introspective. And not saying that dark romance doesn't have that, but I haven't found dark romance that is like that. And so I'm not someone who also really likes books that are like heavy spice, no plot. And I feel like some of the romances that are like heavy in the like dark vibes, they have like heavy spice and like not as much of a plot. But I feel like there's a dark romance out there that I just haven't found like the right one yet. And there's one that I'm gonna fall in love with. And this one could be it. It's about a girl who's running from her demon. She's running from so much that she's been through, and she's a ballerina, and she ends up being paired up with this guy. His name is Rain. And she's in New York City, and she's paired up with him in the Swan Lake retelling that she has to like dance in. And I think she knew him from when she was younger or something. It looks really good. Again, it's by a Black author, and I feel like if I'm going to read a book that's out of my comfort zone, I do want to read a book that is like, one, not well known, doesn't have a ton of reviews, but two, is a diverse read, so I can like recommend to people who are specifically looking for that, because I know so many of you guys will be like, hey, do you have a book by a Black author for like this specific trope? And I'm like, literally, I have a rec. Always. But dark romance is an area, along with fantasy, that I feel like I kind of don't have as many recommendations for because I don't lean into those books very often. I also want to read Block Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I finished Can't Get Enough and loved the End of the Skyline series. I've read Real by Kennedy Ryan. I've read the first book in the Grip trilogy, and I read the first book in the Hoops trilogy. So I kind of want to like wrap a little bow on this series and then get to the next series. And I do want to eventually read like the Kingmaker series, but I just don't want to start any more series of hers before I finish some of the ones that I already have. So I'm going to finish this series first and then probably hop into the Grip series and finish that. This is the second book in the Hoops trilogy. I'm pretty sure this is about the guy who is like the main character in Long Shot. I'm pretty sure it's his agent, like, is the main character. His name is Jared, which that's the name of my brother. So like if this is like a romantic interest, like I don't know how I'm gonna feel about hearing that name, but his last name is Foster, so like hopefully if I like connect like first and last name, maybe it'll like have a different vibe. But I do love her writing. I feel like her romances are always so beautiful, and I cannot wait to pick this up. It's also giving fall. Like the front cover kind of looks like fall leaves, even though it's like I think a flower, but really excited to read this one. I also want to read a football book because we are going into like football season, and I love football season so much. I honestly thought about picking up more than just this one, but I don't really have a ton of football romance books. I feel like I've read most of the ones that I have because I love those books so much. This book is a book that I had, I think, on my TBR last month and never got to, so I'm kind of rolling it over into the new month. It's by a small author. I just thought it would be fun to read because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. And yeah, I don't really know too much about it. I do know it's football romance, and I do know that it's kind of giving like icebreaker vibes, like not in the sense of like the spice, but in the writing style. Like I kind of browsed through it, so excited for this one. And then I want to read this queer read. It's called Fall for Him by Andy Burke. I've read one book by this author and really loved her writing, so I want to get into more of their books. And this one says, with hilarious hijinks and heart, Fall for Him is about finding out what it really means to fix things when life crumbles. I got this book last fall, but I'm pretty sure I picked it up in like late October, I think. And I feel like by late October, I was already thinking Christmas. Like when November 1st comes around, I'm ready to start like Christmas books, like reading Christmas, getting in the Christmas vibe, Christmas spirit. And not that it's not still fall, like it definitely is, but it's literally August right now, and I woke up this morning and it's 64 degrees Fahrenheit here, and like it's chilly. Like there's, you know, a breeze already, and so many of you guys are making fun of me because you're like, it's August, it's not fall yet. But there's something about the Midwest, we get fall so early, it's actually wild. And so I feel like because fall comes early, so does the like super cold winter months, and then with that it gives me the excitement of Christmas because it's starting to get really cold. So I want to read a lot of my fall reads in like September, October, because I know last year by November I was more like wanting to read, even if it wasn't a Christmas read, I wanted to read like winter reads, like The Coldest Winter by Brittany Cherry, or just like books that have like winter in the title or like a wintry vibe. And then I also want to read Saving Six. I never finished the rest of the series. I read the first 2 books and really loved the first one. The second one was just okay. And so this is actually Joey's story. And so I'm excited to get into this because I've heard so many people love his story even more than the other characters in the series. And then I have some historical fiction books. There's only 2, but I do want to read them because one of them, The Rose Code, was actually recommended to me by Brady's dad. He reads so much historical fiction and he's always asking like what I've read. It's funny, like the last time that we were at their house, he was like, do you have like a way that you like write down what books you've read? And I'm like, oh yeah, like I definitely do. And I know he wanted to like know what that was. And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, you're not getting my Goodreads. Like, if you asked me, like if you really asked, like I would give it to you, but like, sir, I read so much, like, and I read so many different types of books. Like, if you find my Goodreads, you're a real one. Like, and I always link it below for you guys because I feel like readers know that, like, readers read everything, right? Like, you shouldn't judge someone based on what they read or what they don't read. But I feel like my husband's dad, who is like 70, doesn't need to know that I'm reading a dark romance about like a ballerina and like that. Like I just don't think they do. I mean, I can tell them like I'm grown, you know what I mean? But like I don't think that you need to see my review on that. But he's always talking about historical fiction. He reads a lot of Kristen Hanna. He's read all of her books. And we love a man who will read a book written by a woman. Like I feel like there's so many men who will just only read books that are written by men. And I feel like anytime you read a book, like whether it's written by a man or a woman, but I feel like anytime you read a book, it's going to open up your like empathy for others, especially if you're reading a book written by someone that maybe has a different life experience than you. And so I'm really excited to read this because he recommended it. And it says it's a heart-stopping World War II story involving 3 female code breakers at Bletchley Park and the spy they must uncover after the war is over. And it's told from 1940 and again in 1947. I think there's like more to the story. It's a very thick book, but he recommended this a while ago and I really want to get to it because like he's mentioned like, hey, have you like picked up that book, or like, have you heard about this book? And I'm like, yeah, you told me, like I need to read it. And I definitely want to get to this one, but I also want to get to The Great Mrs. Elias because we do talk about books a lot, and now that I'm like getting into the fall vibes, I feel like I'm getting more excited to read fall books. And because we talk about books so much, he is a farmer, but he also was a banker before he retired. And he was like a CEO of a bank, and I thought that this would be a cool one for us to like talk about. And it is about the richest Black woman in America and her extraordinary life. And it says that this is packed with glamour, suspense, drama, and it sheds light on how she accumulates her wealth as a robber baron. She quietly invests in the stock market, growing her fortune with the help of businessmen. As her investments grow, Hannah hides millions across 29 banks. She ultimately buys her dream home, a mansion on the Upper West Side, and decorates it in gold and first-rate decor inspired by Cleopatra, her idol. I just thought this would be fun because I haven't really heard this story, and I feel like there's so many people just like throughout history or just like little bits of history that I could like learn more about, and I think that this is definitely going to be a great book for that. I also have tons of books that are contemporary fiction because I'm definitely getting into the contemporary fiction vibe. And I have a total of, I think, 6 books here. These are all contemporary fictions. And the first one is Francine's Spectacular Crash and Burn. I've asked so many of you guys for book recommendations by Black authors that are contemporary fiction. And it's not that I don't read books that aren't written by Black authors, because you guys obviously know if you follow my channel that I definitely do. But I feel like I try to focus on reading diversely and reading books by Black authors because I don't see enough people talking about those recs. So like, I like to be the person that can come to you and be like, hey, if you're looking for contemporary fiction, here's some recs. If you're looking for this, here's some recs. And I feel like there isn't, at least to my knowledge, there isn't someone who is a creator on a larger scale that is sharing in that way. I feel like if I follow a creator, I'll see them share like maybe one Black author here or one diverse read there, and like maybe one a month, so like a total of maybe 12 a year, like max. And I read literally like 16 to 20 books a month. So if someone recommends 12 diverse reads to me, those are gonna literally be read in 1 month. And so I'm actively seeking these reads specifically for you guys, but also because I don't feel like there is another person or persons who are providing that information. And maybe if there was, I would be like, oh yeah, like, you know what, bet, I'll let you take it. But on a larger scale, I don't feel like there is. There are tons of creators who are sharing Black authors, not to say that there is not, but you know what I mean? Like on a larger scale, I don't feel like I see that very often. So I'm trying to be that person, but also I love reading stories about my culture, about different types of culture. I think it's so fun, and I feel like, again, you have so much empathy for other people whenever you are reading about life experiences that maybe you're not a part of, or you can connect with your own cultural experience by reading about experiences that are similar to yours. So this one looks really good. It says a chance encounter with a 10-year-old who shows up on Francine Stevenson's doorstep spirals into an adventure for the ages. And it just looks like it's gonna be one of those funny, haphazard type stories. I read Sky Falling by Mia McKinsey, which was a great read, and it has a similar vibe to this where a girl just like shows up and is like, hey, are you my mom? Like, I need you to like tell me about yourself. Like, I've never met you. It was funny. I didn't want to put it down, and it was definitely one of my top reads of I think like last year, maybe it was this year, I can't remember, but it's a book that I've like really loved, and so I feel like this book is going to be like that. I also want to read Once Upon a Time in Dollywood. This book was in the contemporary fiction section in Barnes, but they also placed it in the romance section in Barnes. So I feel like this could be the perfect blend of what I'm looking for right now, because this is what I'm gravitating towards a lot, especially after reading Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola. This says a playwright must grapple with her difficult year and writer's block while falling for the single dad living next door in this emotional debut novel from Ashley Jordan. I cannot wait to read this. I don't know much about this author, obviously, because this is her first book, but I'm always wanting to pick up something by a new author, and I feel like if it's a Reese's book pick, they always have great book picks. I think that this is my most anticipated book for the entire month, so I'm probably gonna read this very soon, and I honestly thought about reading it this month, but I feel like I need to put some distance between this book and Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola, because both of those books were really high on my like list of books that I wanted to read. And the book is August Lane. So many of you guys have said that you love this book, that you picked it up, you're obsessed with it, and I feel like I will be too. But again, I don't think you can read 2 bangers after 2 bangers, or 2 similar types of book after one another, because I feel like you'll compare that book to the other. So I'm gonna wait to read this in September. This says a Black country music star who lied about writing his only hit, risks his comeback to reunite with the woman he stole it from, a first love the lyrics won't let him forget. I just think that that's such a unique storyline, and I read I think it's called The Active Scandal by this author, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like a unique storyline. It reminded me of the show Scandal in a way, even though I haven't watched that whole show, but I liked it. And so I feel like, because like books, I usually connect with books based on the writing style first, and if I like the writing style, then it's like, okay, I'll continue the story, I'll probably enjoy it in some capacity, and I really like the writing style, so I'm already knowing that this is going to be somewhat of a hit because I liked her writing style. I also want to read The Bright Years. So many people have talked about how great this book is, and it's about a couple, Ryan and Lillian, and they go through so much. I'm pretty sure she is keeping secrets from him and he's keeping secrets from her. and their child is like in the middle of all that turmoil. So you're seeing them navigate that as a family, I'm pretty sure. And I think it's told from 3 POVs as well. So excited to pick this up. I've heard nothing but great things about this. So many people have rated this 5 stars. I also want to read Finding Grace. This is a book that I actually picked up when I was in London. The United States cover is a little bit different, but kind of similar. And this just looks really good. It's a sweeping love story that explores the price of secrets and asks whether it's ever too late to tell the truth. It says Honor's life is nearly perfect. She adores her bright and beautiful daughter, Chloe, and her charming, handsome husband, Tom, even if he works 100 hours a week. Yet Honor's longing for another baby threatens to eclipse all that is wonderful until a shocking event changes everything. That's all I need to hear. I feel like books that are contemporary fiction books with like a heavy subplot of like romance or navigating hard things or just like hardships in family and friendship are the books that I gravitate towards the most. So I feel like this will be a good book. I also want to read Sky Full of Elephants. This is a unique storyline, but so many people have said that it's good. And this is also another book that I had on my TBR that I never got to. So I want to read it this month. And it says that this book is an astonishing debut novel about the power of community and connection, healing, and self-actualization. It's reckoning with what it means to be Black in America in both Charlie's world and ours. And Charlie is like the main character, I'm pretty sure. And it says, one day a cataclysmic event occurs. All of the white people in America walk into the nearest body of water. A year later, Charlie Brunton is a Black man living in an entirely new world. Having served time in prison after a wrongful conviction, he's now a professor of electric and solar power systems at Howard University when he receives a call from someone he wasn't even sure existed. His daughter, Sydney, a 19-year-old left behind by her white mother and step family. And so it says he's traumatized by the event and terrified of the outside world. Or Sydney is. Sydney has spent a year in isolation in Wisconsin. She's desperate for help, but she turns to the father she never knew, a man she has always resented, and they embark on a journey across a truly post-racial, in quotes, America in search of answers, but neither of them is prepared for this new world and how they see themselves in it. It just looks like a really unique story, and I feel like any book like this is going to make me think. These are the types of books that I like for like a book club kind of vibe, because everyone's gonna have their own thoughts on what this new world would look like and the changes and the positive and the negatives. And I feel like these are books that make me think, and I love that. I actually was an English literature major in college, and I feel like I read so many books with similar vibes to this, where it's like, obviously totally different storyline, but like books that make you think, and then you come back together as a class and you talk about like what you think and like back up your thoughts. And I don't know, I love that. I, again, do think that I've taken kind of a hiatus from reading contemporary fiction because I got so burnt out in school reading like The Bell Jar and Junot Diaz and like, or I think it's the Wonderful Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz or something like that. Anyway, there's so many different books that I've read, and I feel like I got burnt out because I wasn't picking the books, my professor was picking the books, and you just have to read them, like whether you like them or not. And so there is no DNFing. There's no like, I don't like this book, I don't read it. It's like, you don't like it, so what, you read it, and you gotta like write a paper on it and talk about it. And I got really burnt out on anything that made my brain think. And so I think I leaned heavily into romance, and now I'm just now getting really excited about contemporary fiction, like within the last year. So this looks like a good one. And another book that is also, or was on my TBR for last month, but I didn't get to, is The Girls Who Grew Big. And this is about a group of teenage moms in a small town on the Florida Panhandle, and they're a fierce group, and they have joys, and they have hardships, and they're, I'm pretty sure, like 16. I read one book called Night Crawling by this author, and it was so heart-wrenching and so sad. One of the saddest books I've read, and just like, it shows the world and how gritty and hard it is. And if you haven't had a lived experience that shows you those hardships in that specific way in that book, you feel like you're going through it yourself. And because I could feel as if I was the character in that book, it made me excited to read this, because obviously I'm 33 and I was never 16 and pregnant. You know, I was never having to navigate that, but so many people have. And I feel like books are a great way to create empathy for the way you like I don't know, view people and their decisions and things, and not that you shouldn't already be empathetic, but I think sometimes if you haven't lived an experience, it's hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes fully. Like, you can to an extent, but when you read books written by authors who know how to put you in those characters' shoes, it makes you feel like you are that person. And that's how I felt when I read Nightcrawling, so I feel like that's how I'll feel when I read this book. So I'm excited to read this one as well. And then I have 2 thrillers. I think I'm gonna end up adding more thrillers as the month goes on, but I don't wanna really add anything in the stack because nothing's really calling to me other than these 2. And the first book is She Didn't See It Coming. This is by Cherie LaPena, and this is an author who is one of my favorites. Her writing is similar to Freedom McFadden in the sense that it's like super fast paced. It's always in a suburb. You never really know who's like the bad guy, and it goes like super fast. I usually finish it in 24 hours. So that's the type of thriller that I am wanting to read this month. And then I also want to read Love You to Death by Christina Dotson. This is by a Black author, and it's supposed to be like how was the back say? It said like a Thelma and Louise type story with a ride or die on the run type of vibe, and it's a dark comedy type of feel. That sounds interesting to me. I know that this book is a whirlwind, but on the front by Lane Fargo, it says the hairpin turns and killer twists of this propulsive bad girls gone wrong thriller will have you hanging on for dear life. And Lane Fargo wrote The Favorites, and I always feel like if I like one book by an author who wrote like a blurb on the book, I'll probably like the book because it might have similar writing. So I'm excited for this one. And those are all the 20 books that I want to read during the month of September. I say this every month. I cannot believe we're in a new month, but I really, really, really cannot believe that we're in September. It does not feel like it. It feels like summer just started. It feels like we were just talking about like what reads we're gonna pick up for the summer, and like now it's almost fall and we're almost to pumpkin carvings and like going picking for strawberries and stuff, and like, well, not strawberries, but for pumpkins. And it just feels wild. So comment below the book that you're most excited to read this fall. I'm really excited to read all of these. I feel like I have a really good like mix of books. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.